Alright, what up, everybody? It's called Nerdy Core. Back again with another video. This is going to be another collection video. This one's specifically going to focus on my DVD collection. I'm going to be moving into my movie collections, which is just two videos. It's going to be the DVD collection and a Blu-ray collection. The reason I want to get into my movies is because I want to touch on a bunch of stuff to do with. I just want to focus on gaming. I know some people won't be interested in the movie part, some people won't be interested in the gaming part. But I'm going to try to do both and try to keep content going for both. Mainly my channel will focus on gaming at the moment because it's what I know the most. I'm definitely not a super hardcore movie buff. I just enjoy watching movies and collecting them. So I'm just going to go over my collection and highlight some of my favorites, talk a little bit about each movie. Again, I am no movie buff, so I don't know the correct terms, what movies are actually good from a cinematography point of view and stuff like that. I'll just be highlighting ones I find fun and cool. Alright, so we're going to start off with my only box set for DVDs. This is a Band of Brothers box set. This is a really good TV. It was like a TV miniseries type thing. It focuses on World War II, the paratroopers that went behind enemy lines and their story through that. So this one kind of folds out, this whole screen thing. So it's pretty cool. Definitely worth checking out. I want to also get the Pacific after this. I have 2 more episodes of this left, and then I want to pick up the Pacific, hopefully on Boxing Day or something like that. Next is the blind video. These are skate videos. I used to be really big into skating. You'll notice some of these are kind of older movies because a lot of my DVDs were from when I was a little bit younger. So some of them I'll just skip over because they're not really ones I've been looking out for collecting or watching purposes right now. It's just videos I had when I was younger. Next is The Boondock Saints. This is a really good movie. This is one... It's a pretty older movie. I don't remember. The only person I know in it, because I'm horrible with actors, is William Dafoe. I know he's in it. He basically plays the crazy detective. So this movie's about 2 brothers. I think they're part of the church, and they go around kind of doing their own version of justice type thing by going around killing everybody who's evil type thing. It's a pretty good movie. So next is Borat. It's definitely one of the funnier movies I own, and I love the sleeve and cover. It has the almost pirated weird print on the front, on the inside, and then you have the regular on the outside. That's definitely one that I like the sleeve for. Borat's great. It's a very offensive comedy. I get that. Some people don't like it. I personally like it. I don't mind offensive comedy when it's done right. And this one's definitely done right. The best parts are definitely in the beginning and end of the movie. It kind of dies down during the middle in terms of how funny it is. But it's a pretty good movie. Next is Charlie's Angels Full Throttle. I thought this was the first one, but it wasn't. So I picked it up. It was $1. So I've always been interested in seeing these movies. Because I always like cheesy action movies. And I don't mind Cameron Diaz as an actor. Next is Eagle Eye. This is actually a pretty good movie. This is before Shia LaBeouf went absolutely insane. Still respect the guy as an actor, but he's kind of off the deep end. But this movie was really good. This is basically about an AI entity controlling and hunting down these people for purposes that you figure out later in the movie, but I won't spoil. It's a very interesting movie. It definitely it's pretty fast paced. It's like an action movie. I would definitely recommend it. Next is Ernest Joins the Army. Now Ernest is a classic, I don't even remember I think it's the 90s comedy sketch show, and then he just has little movies in it. That was from when I was a kid. They're still kind of funny. Next is the Expendables movies. I have 1 and 2. I still need to get 3. These movies are just stupid action movies that are fun to watch. I enjoy stupid action movies. Always have, always will. They're just fun for a view every now and then. So next is the Family Guy trilogy. This is the Star Wars one. So it comes with, it's hard to see with the light, but it comes with, it's like It's a Trap, Blue Harvest, and something Dark Side. So it's their take on the like original trilogy of Star Wars. It's pretty funny. I'm not as big as a Family Guy fan as I am like South Park or The Simpsons, but Family Guy has its moments. Next is a more recent one. Is this Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them? I'm a huge Harry Potter fan, and I was a little bit skeptical about this movie first, so I didn't see it in theaters. But I picked it up. I got it somewhere around like last Christmas, and I wasn't disappointed. I actually really like the direction they're going with these movies. I like that it's a completely separate series with like some ties to the original one. So I like that they're not just holding on to like kind of what like Force Awakens did, where they just kind of relied on a bunch of old parts of older movies to hold the movie up instead of creating their own with it. So I really like Newt. All these characters are really good. He's pretty funny. It's definitely a good movie, and I'm really excited for the next one that comes out soon. This is Gully 2. This is just one I had as a kid. It's like a cheesy like kid movie. It's not even that good of one, but I have it. Alright, so next is Get 'Em to the Greek. This is a pretty good comedy movie. It's definitely probably Russell Brand's best and like one of his only acting things. I can't remember anything I've seen him in, but again, I'm not a huge movie buff, so I'm probably wrong. But this is definitely, I would say, probably his best movie, and one of the only movies I like Jonah Hill in. I'm not a huge Jonah Hill fan. So that movie was pretty good. Definitely a cruder comedy, but it's from the people who made Superbad, so it's kind of like their thing. So next is the Godfather movies. So these come in like those box set, and you have like all the characters on it type thing. This is one I haven't watched yet totally. I've like partway through it, so I can't give my full opinion on it yet, but I know these are classics. So, and I'm really big into like the mafia movies, so that's one I'm definitely looking forward to getting into more. So next is Goon. This has a sleeve, but it's one of those ones that just, has the same picture, just with the sleeve. But the only thing different is the back. The back is like these hockey card things, and the back kind of looks like that on the original. This is a stupid comedy movie. It's stupid in a good way. It's just fun. Like there's no like super deep like subplots or something like that. It's just about a guy who playing hockey, and a goon in hockey is some guy who just goes around fighting to like get the morale up of his team or try to injure the star players. So I can't remember the guy from American Pie here. I don't know which one of his name. Again, I'm horrible with actors and stuff like that. But he plays the role of the goon. So it's kind of like him going up in the ranks of the known goons of the hockey league that he's in. Alright, next is Gran Torino. This is a Clint Eastwood movie. This is definitely one of the better ones I've seen of him in. This is definitely one of like the deeper meaning stories that I've had, movies that I have on DVD. It's definitely a sad movie, and it's definitely a thinking movie. It's about Clint Eastwood's basically a neighbor to, I guess, Filipino, if I'm not mistaken, family, and then they were having problems with a local gang in their town, so he kind of like deals with the issue, and then at the beginning he's very closed-minded and like racist towards, and like I don't know if he was racist, but he was more like not accepting of having neighbors and people trying to be friendly with him. He was a crust-field dude, and then eventually he grows with the family and grows to like him and stuff like that. So it's a pretty interesting movie. So next is the Harry Potter movies. I only have 3 on DVD, but I have all of them on Blu-ray. I eventually want to get them all like in their individual like DVD things, because I always like the covers and having like the original movies on DVD, because I like having them all separately. It's kind of cool to look at. Definitely probably my favorite movie series of all time. Goblet of Fire and definitely Hollow Part 2 are probably two of the best. I also really like the first one because I like when my favorite parts of these movies are always like discovering the school and like the environment and world of like the wizarding stuff. That's the part that always interests me the most. All right, so next is I Am Legend. This is one of the better movies I've seen Will Smith in personally. Again, haven't seen too many movies, so I'm basing it off the movies I have seen. This is like a zombie apocalypse type scenario movie. So basically, some like strain starts turning people into like these zombies, but they're like fast moving zombies that can only hang out in the dark. And Will Smith basically plays a scientist or researcher or something like that who stays behind and is by himself. So he has like this day life where he pretends that like people are still around and stuff like that with like mannequins, and then he's trying to figure out a cure for the thing. So it's all about that. So next is Inception. This is one of my favorite movies. It's definitely a very, very cool movie and a thinking movie. Definitely, it's a like an action movie thriller with a lot of twists and a lot of cool special effects. So basically, Leonardo DiCaprio and I always forget this dude's name. I think it's Joseph Gordon-Levitt. No, that's this guy. Yeah, they play what are they called? I don't know, but it's some sort of agents that sell mind protection and also break into people's minds for money. So they basically can put people to sleep and then get inside their dreams type thing. So this movie's all about being in people's dreams, stealing stuff or protecting stuff, and it's all about like how that works. Because Ellen Page here gets like kind of brought into the fold, and she tries to learn how to like what's it all about and how to do it and stuff like that. It's very interesting. So next is Inglourious Basterds. I did not pay $25 for a single DVD. I got this for $5 actually, so that is why I have it. I'm not paying $25 for a single movie. This is a really good movie. I really enjoy this movie. It's like a kind of comic World War II movie. It's comedic in the way that it has a lot of funny moments, and it's kind of structured to have some funny over the top moments, but it also has some serious moments and a lot of parts that like have deeper meaning than what you're actually seeing. I really like this front too. It's like all embroidered and stuff like that. It's one of the cooler sleeves I have. This is a Quentin Tarantino movie, so it's kind of structured like all of his movies are structured. I think it's one of his best on. Next is Jacob Tutu and the Book of Magic. Now this was, in my opinion, a pretty overlooked cartoon show from when I was a kid. I actually pretty enjoyed this one. It's basically about him, Jacob Tutu, and like getting into all sort of mischief with his family and stuff like that. And if you want to see a throwback, look at this. Look at that. That's original McDonald's. You got the old school cups, the old school fry bags, like the old kids menu and shit like that. That's how old this is. It's a good throwback right there. So next is one of my first WWE movies. I was really big into WWE when I was a kid, so I have a couple of these movies. They're all the same. They're just highlights of wrestling through certain. That's Judgment Day. It's one of the pay-per-view events. So next is Knocked Up. This is an okay movie. I'm not a huge fan of this movie. There's certain parts that are awesome in this movie, and certain parts where it just kind of dies down as like a kind of cheesy romantic comedy-esque style of movie, which I'm not a fan of. So this is definitely again more mature comedy, but I thought it was pretty good for some parts. Next is the Matrix like 4 collection type thing. This is like a cartoon like anime style version of the thing, which I haven't watched yet. I've watched 1, 2, and 3 though. 1's definitely the best. 2 and 3 kind of go off the deep end with the story, but it's like a sci-fi action movie. It's actually one of my favorites. I think 1 is one of my favorite movies of all time. Definitely really cool, really over the top, and a lot of cool special effects in these. So I would definitely recommend that one. Next is the Mummy trilogy. So this comes with, I don't know if this will be easier to see. 1, 2, and 3 on the side here. These are okay movies. I would say definitely probably 1 or 3 are the best. 2's a little out there. They're like adventure action movies type thing. They try to throw like a few elements of like miniature horror in there with some of the monsters and stuff like that, but it's not scary. It's just like a fun little action movie with like some adventure elements. So next is Napoleon Dynamite. This case is torn up. I have another one of these on Blu-ray at like the, what was it, 20 or 10 year anniversary or something like that. But Napoleon Dynamite is probably my favorite comedy ever. It's just such stupid comedy, but it's so good on how they present it. It's basically Napoleon's like a nerd at school who gets bullied and picked on a lot, and it's kind of about his like misadventures through school and stuff like that. It's really funny. So next is Ninja Assassin. This is probably my favorite all-time over-the-top cheesy action movie, but badass. Basically this guy plays a role of like he's a ninja assassin by the title, of course, but he's from they're kind of divided into factions. So there's factions of ninjas, and they're all at like war with each other. So he basically portrays his faction and goes rogue, and it's all about his faction hunting him down and stuff like that. It's really badass. I would definitely recommend that movie. Alright, to start the final stack, we got the Pirates of the Caribbean trilogy. So I know this has either 4 or 5 movies now. I can't remember, but I only have the first 3. Basically, how I would rank these is 1's an actual really good movie. I actually really enjoy 1. And 2 or 3 are okay. Like, I don't know. I think 1 has the most charm to it, and I think is the most entertaining, with 2 and 3 and a lot of the rest just being a little over the top and a little repetitive. So 2 and 3 are definitely still good movies. I would just, if I was to pick one as my favorite, 1 would definitely be the best. Next is another recent pickup for me. This is Platoon. This one again has William Dafoe and has a very, very young Charlie Sheen as the main character, which I thought was pretty interesting. So this is basically about, I think it's the Vietnam War, correct me if I'm wrong there. It's basically follows a platoon, so it's like a squad of people fighting in the war, and kind of follows like them from training to in the actual war and how it affects them emotionally, physically. And it's a very detailed and gory take on the war, which I thought was pretty interesting. And there's a lot of like, it's definitely a very like emotional, in terms of you see everybody's emotions through the movie, and a very, one of the deeper, I guess, war movies. It was definitely really good. Alright, so next is the Police Academy quadrilogy. I think there might be a 5th one, but these are the first 4, and I would definitely recommend picking up these movies. These movies are great. They're just really funny comedy movies. It's basically about a police academy, obviously. It's about following the same group of cadets. So the first movie is about them getting to the police academy and going through like all their testing and stuff like that. The second one, they get placed, I think, somewhere like they're like beat cops. So it's all about that. And then the third one, they go back to the academy. And then the fourth one, they are again back on the beat. So it kind of follows like a continuous story following the same people. And they all have their very unique like comedy aspects to them. It's definitely a very good movie. So next is Rey Mysterio, The Biggest Little Man. This is another wrestling one, but it kind of like folds out and stuff like that. This one has a broken disc here, which is great. Oh, the disc tray, so it always falls out. Annoys me. But this is definitely, if I was to recommend any of the wrestling stuff for anybody that's still into wrestling, I would definitely recommend this. I wasn't a huge Rey Mysterio fan. I was more like Shawn Michaels, Triple H, DX, or Edge or something like that fan. but this is a very good box set and has some really good matches in it. Alright, so next is Rise of the Planets of the Apes. This is the first of the remakes, I think they're technically remakes, of the original Planet of the Apes movies. I've seen the first two. I only have the first one on DVD, but they're definitely pretty good action movies. So next is Russell Brand's in New York City. So this is like a comedy show of his, like a stand-up. And this is basically, I bought this after Get Him to the Greek because I really enjoyed Get Him to the Greek, but his stand-up's not that good, in my opinion. So next is Rush Hour 3. I know this is the crappiest Rush Hour out of them, but I picked it up. It was very cheap, so I gave it a try, and it's still pretty funny. Definitely, it's like a Rush Hour. If none of you've seen Rush Hour movies, they're just like fast-paced, like comedy action movies. So next is Semi-Pro. Here's another throwback with all the Blockbuster stuff. It's even in like the older, like Blockbuster cases type thing. This is, I think, when they were going out of business. Semi-Pro is a really funny movie. This is a Will Ferrell movie. He plays kind of like the main character, and he kind of owns the Flint Tropics basketball team, and it's all about like them trying to stay afloat and trying to actually compete in games. So it's a really funny movie. See, even in like the old school like Blockbuster inside stuff like that. That's what I like about this case. Kind of a throwback, but definitely still a good movie. Definitely a crude comedy movie. So if you're not into that. Next is Source Code. This is a really cool movie. This is basically about a like agent who is put on this like experiment thing where he has to go back in time and find the explosives on a train that blew up in real time, but he basically keeps on doing the simulation over and over and over again until he can figure out where the explosives are and how to disarm them. So next is my only Star Wars movie I have on DVD. This is another one that I want to get all the DVDs for eventually, but I only have one at the moment, which is Attack of the Clones 2. This is the second one in terms of like their actual order. This is probably one of the worst Star Wars, but I don't hate it. Like a lot of people hate it. I don't hate it. I think 2 has some of the better action scenes out of any of the Star Wars, and I really like. I always forget this guy's name. I think it's Sean something. I really like how he plays Obi-Wan. I think he's the best at Obi-Wan. So next is Team America: World Police. So this is a movie done with puppets. So it's a very crude comedy movie. It's from the same people who did South Park. So if you've seen South Park, it kind of has the same comedy as that. This is a movie that definitely picks up near the end. The first, like, I would say like 3/4 is pretty slow, but the end's really funny. So it's definitely worth a watch, at least. So next is A Town. This is a pretty awesome movie. It's about like bank robbers and following their stories and like why they need to rob the bank, and then how they like interact with police and stuff like that, and then how they actually get it done. So that's they kind of popularized the nun mask when this came out. That's definitely a movie I would recommend. So you got 2 more wrestling movies. This is The Undertaker 15-0, which he should have stayed with the 0 at the end of that, but he didn't because WWE now. These are just wrestling movies. Pretty good. Next is The Village. This is definitely one of the odder movies I've seen. So this is basically I would say horror mystery movie. It's not horror as in it's scary, but it has like, it gives off that vibe type thing. This is more of a mystery, like drama type thing. So it's basically about this secluded village, and there's like these monsters that kind of hunt the village if they don't stay on their like confined area, and then one of them gets, I think it's sick or stabbed, and then they have to go out and find medicine for him, So they send this one girl out, and it has a bunch of twists. It's one of those movies that you're kind of like, where is this going at the beginning, and then at the end you're like, wow, I wasn't expecting that at all. All right, so next I have is Wild Hogs. This is one I think is one of the more underrated comedies that I own. This is a family favorite of my family, and we watch it all the time. This is not a super crude comedy movie. It's definitely more of a family oriented comedy movie, and I think personally it's funny all the way through, and it's pretty lighthearted with some like family aspects to it. So finally, just another skate video. This is the Girl Skate Company, and yeah, so that's my DVD collection. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know I'm not as versed in like movie culture as I am with gaming culture, but I enjoy collecting movies and I enjoy watching movies. So I have to do more videos about just like as a person who enjoys movies, just watching them, like my opinions on stuff or my favorite movies or movies I would recommend. So yeah, so the next video will be my Blu-ray collection, which I should have up soon. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching. And if you guys have any more suggestions on videos that you would like to see, either gaming related, movie related, or anything like discussion related in terms of anything to do with either of the two, just let me know and I'll try to do some of the suggestions. And just remember, everybody has some nerdiness at their core.